C-suite sit-down time this morning. Most people probably have a very negative opinion of government lobbyists, but they do provide important services to companies. And for more on lobbying, we have Caren Turner with the CEO of Turner Government and Public Affairs. That was quite an introduction, right? You evil lobbyist. It kind of reminds me of the evil hedge funds we talked about yesterday. Evil, very evil doers.
Evil. There are a few people who aren't evil these days.
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, you know, as we joke around about it, but there's been an attack on this industry, right? The lobbying industry. Yeah. The president says no lobbyists in my administration. How are things going down there in D.C.?
It's been an interesting time. We're actually, most of us are lawyers and lobbyists, so we have a double evil empire.
The worst of the worst.
Yes,
that's almost as bad as journalists.
It's really bad.
Yes.
But it is going very, very well. The industry is actually growing at a phenomenal rate.
Really?
Yeah. Anytime there's a change in administration in Washington, there's everybody scrambling for new positioning, etc.
Right. So now you have to lobby different people, obviously, that are in a new administration.
Yes.
You deal with a lot of the financial services companies, don't you?
We do.
All right. So what's been there's more than enough to talk about there.
Right.
Making any major headway on some of the big issues?
Well, yeah. You know, Connell, it's. Washington has become the new Wall Street, so everyone is scrambling to get into the Treasury Department, into the FDIC, and try to, particularly with regard to this public-private partnership, and try to take advantage of some of the opportunities that exist right now.
And the problem with that is that, and at least from what I'm hearing, is that Wall Street folks, or maybe now as you say they're Washington folks, the rules of the game are changing here on this. I'm sure a lot of your clients say that. Are you making any progress in getting those rules changed back, or getting assurances that they won't be changed, so that we'll actually see some investment in this public-private partnership?
It's hard to know how the rules are changing because they're changing so quickly. And there is transparency, and that's fabulous. But the interaction between the Treasury, the FDIC, the Senate and House banking committees is constantly in a state of flux, and it's moving so quickly.
So what do your clients tell you, that we don't want any part of this?
Oh, no. They're saying, get us in, figure it out.
Because the terms are so, the terms are great for them, right? Yes. So they want to invest. What assurances do they need to invest?
I think for the most part, what we're seeing is medium and smaller sized clients that say, we don't want to reward the bad behavior of the big guys. We want in. And sometimes we're even having them, they're getting involved with members of Congress to try to assure that the big players won't be the only ones at the table. So we're looking at a lot of groups, a lot of even unions getting involved, saying we'd like to have a seat at the table and take advantage of this.
Okay, good enough. All right, let's broaden the discussion real quick before we let you go and talk about lobbying in general. I started off with saying, hey, there's been an attack on this industry. How are things different now that the Obama administration has been aggressive in saying that, hey, we don't want any lobbyists in our administration, certainly, and he's spoken out against the industry in general?
Right. You know, we go back to, I think it has changed quite a bit in terms of participating in the administration itself, which is fine. Although the president and the administration have granted some waivers to particular lobbyists that he knows and likes and are very knowledgeable. This goes back to the Magna Carta and First Amendment rights. You know, the Magna Carta in the 1600s, you have the right to petition the king, the right to petition the government, and so it is really a First Amendment right to talk to the Congress and the administration. Is
there some danger, I don't know if the danger is the right way to phrase it, but now that if you ban something, usually, I mean, it's almost like prohibition, you find a way, people find a way around it. What's happening in D.C. on that front? And is that worrying at all? I mean, would it be better, in other words, to allow folks like you to operate as opposed to having to find a way to operate?
Well, we should have, at this point, complete transparency, and each lobbyist has to register for every client that they have, post the amount of money that they have, etc. I think the danger comes in with a recent proclamation, presidential proclamation, where they essentially said lobbyists may not discuss, either on the phone nor in person, anything, particular plans with regard to the stimulus. So lobbyists some of them are finding a way to not register anymore as lobbyists. They're finding ways to say, I'm not really a lobbyist. Or they get their clients, they set it up so their clients go in on their own. A company can go in, a lobbyist may not. Now, if you're an attorney lobbyist, if you're an attorney, what does that mean? You can't bring your representation with you, you can't bring your attorney with you, so that becomes a little bit complicated, and some people it's having the inverse
the opposite effect of what it's intended to be. That's what I was trying to get at. That's interesting. Karen Turner, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it this morning.
My pleasure.
All right, from lobbying to, well, from Washington to Wall Street in some ways, the best month we've seen in a long